I was still going to school at the time. Dad put a plant in over here in the Timor bush. I might be about 14, I suppose. So that'd be about 56 years ago. So I've been mixed up with you in all that time.
What was the difference then? With the way they were doing it? It's pretty much the same?
Still the same, no change. And the only thing is carried by horse and dray. Horse and dray when I first left school. Then when I got a bit older, we got a Timor Ford. Start with that, a little step up.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
What was life like then?
What's it like? Well, pretty hard. Different what it is these days. We didn't know what's coming over a hot shower and like that after work. If you had to have a shower, you had to light the copper or something like that and cart the wood into a tub.
You were living in Timor then?
Yes.
What was Timor like then?
Got quite a lot of houses here at the time. I've seen a lot of houses shifted from here with line traction engines. They have a big jinker and they back under the head. I could jack the house up, and they'd traction engines, put them in Maryborough. I sort of reside them in there.
Gee. Any houses you recognise that might be there now?
Yeah. Two. There's two in there, and one's on Dundas Road, one's on Inkerman Street.
Wow.
That I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they just move slowly along the road?
Oh yes, yeah. About 4 mile an hour, I suppose.
Wow.
Yes, we're driving a horse along, sometimes you see a house coming along, the horse is kind of shy. Yes, it was really, I was only a kid handling the horse, you know, and the big draft horse in a dray.
Yeah.
Might took a load of wood in Maryborough and coming home and smooth this house down into Maryborough, see? The horse get right opposite the house, he'd want to gallop. They're really scared, you know. Don't blame us, those.
Know the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way you were working with eucalyptus oil then was pretty much the same way as you did right until you finished up?
Pretty well the same, yes, yes. No difference.
And what was the scene then with eucalyptus oil? Was it how different was it selling it, and was it something you got a good price for there, or was it?
I was up, eucalyptus price was always up and down. More down than up, I'm afraid. There's always a lot of work for little money.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how many people would have been doing it then?
There was quite a few little plants around here those days.
Many around this area?
Quite a few, yes. I suppose it'd be half a dozen really.
Yeah.
They dotted here and there around about.
And what about your early memories of Timor with your school and that? What was that like?
Oh, it was all right there at the school. I went to Timor school all my life. Got my merit and left when I was 14, got my merit and left school. The school now is only about half the size it used to be. It used to be a big wooden structure behind it once. What's left now is all brick. And the part they put down is all weatherboard.
Have any memories of your school days?
Memories of them?
Yeah.
Oh, not from a very exciting school life, I'm afraid. Yes, there used to be a heap in front of the school. It was flattened down now. Any fights the kids had, they'd always get stay behind the heap, and they go behind the heap and have their fight after school. I use the heap as a grandstand, girls and all.
This is the heap that's still there?
Yeah, but it's flattened down now. And counting the mining operation, they can get in gravel, they've flattened it down.
Right.
Sport the look of it.
Yeah.
Used to look like the snow-topped Mount Fujiyama. Imagine Fujiyama with a snow-top, the cone part cut off, sort of, and plonked in the ground. That's what that heap looked like. So it really spoiled the appearance of it.
What about as kids? What did you used to do to amuse yourselves?
Oh, I make shanghais, kites, and things like that. Climbing shaves, climbing up tree, yabbing and fishing and all that sort of thing.
Was there much mining happening here at the time as well?
No. All the big mines are closed at my time.
They weren't processing the tailings or anything by that stage?
Oh, here and there was, yeah. Just little shows, that's all.
Yeah. And what happened after you left school? What did you do then?
I went to work with Dad out the bush on the eucalyptus and the wood. Dad used to sell wood, used to send wood down to Melbourne and Ballarat and Geelong. Maryborough, sell around quite a lot of houses around Timor. Used to sell wood around Timor.
How would you work your time between the wood and the yuki?
Oh, we used to do a bit some days on the wood, some days on the yuki. Well, I suppose when we were on the yuki, more on the yuki than when on the wood. We went on the wood sort of. You couldn't really work the two together, really.
What were you using for the timber?
Oh, wood from the forest.
I mean, how would you cut it?
Oh, we had axes those days. No chainsaws.
What about crosscuts?
Oh, they used to have crosscuts too, but we mainly used axe.
So
No swing saws either, those going back that far.
what would you be cutting? Firewood or?
Firewood.
So what would your process be? You'd cut the tree down first?
Cut the tree down and cut into lengths. And you cut it into 7 foot or 5 foot, 7 foot or 10 foot lengths. You cut it to where you want to saw it.
And so in terms of using the axe, how did you feel after a day of...
Didn't notice it then, but would now.
Yeah. I mean, how much during the day would you actually be using the axe?
Oh, if it's cutting wood, you'd be cutting all day.
Ooh.
But I never cut much wood with an axe. I was usually on the saw bench or the trucks.
Yeah.
The ones that are out cutting wood, they'd be cutting all day.
Sheesh. Yeah, that would be a bit different, wouldn't it? Wow.
They wouldn't do it these days.
And how long did you stay with your father for?
Oh, till I went in the railways, but between about 7 years. I went in the railways when I was 21.
And what was your life in the railways like?
All right. I give it away on account of the shift work at the finish.
Yeah.
I was sick of the shifts.
Start off cleaning engines?
Pardon?
Did you start off cleaning engines?
Started off cleaning and firing, yeah. Used to fire all over the state.
Yeah?
And
what was firing like as a job?
Oh, it wasn't a bad job. Depending on what sort of coal you got. That made all the difference.
Yeah. Newcastle and...
And even fire with wood, sometimes coal shortage of fire on wood.
Didn't they use wood during the war?
A bit, yes, yeah.
What would that have been like to use?
Oh, I used to have an extra man, and used to
I actually heard that today.
used to have a third man. So it was all right while the wood was close, but when it got back up in the tent, the third man he'd bring it forward, so the fireman could throw it in the firebox.
Would you go through wood faster than
Oh yes,
faster?
big trail of sparks flying everywhere too.
Yeah, and you'd be more of a job cleaning the engine up?
Oh no. With coal, it depends on what sort of coal you had. If you had state mine coal, you used a clinker, and Lithgow coal used to be fine powder. Pardon?
So Maitland coal as well?
Maitland was good. You didn't have to clean your fire. Maitland coal was beautiful coal.
That's the good stuff, right?
Real good, really top class. That's what you used to do on the fast goods and passenger trains.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to clean your fire.
And it was from the railways that you went back to the Yuki's distilling again?
I did, yes.
When was that?
About 1946, I think I left the railways.
You've been doing the Yuki since 1946?
Oh,
A few other things in between?
yeah, and I went back to the railway a second time. Yuki went flop.
Yeah. Where did you do it in 46? When did you...
Up Ballaba. So I left the railways, put the plant up Ballaba, and worked about 3 years, I suppose, and walked out with the gate one night with a telegram, and there's the overseas market had collapsed, and that was it. So I put in 200 tonne of wood up at Ballaba railway, wood for the engines, hoping the Yuki might have come back in the meantime, but never, so I shifted back to Maryborough. Shifted the house and all back.
Yeah? How did you do that?
Oh, instead of using steam engine, they used trucks those days. Our steam engines are gone. No, traction engine it was they used to have. But
Yeah.
these chaps used to do removal, specialise in it, and they used to hook a truck on this jinker.
Yeah. Wow. So and then you went back to the railways again then?
I went back the second time. Yeah, I got driving then around this.
So you were driving as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I sort of shed drive. I didn't go out on the track.
Right. And then when did you go back? When did you finish that lot of railway work again?
Oh, I think I stopped there about 2 years. I went back to the eucalyptus again. Become good again, see?
You kept going back to the eucalyptus?
Kept going to the bush. I loved the bush, yeah. Of course, the eucalyptus let me down again, so I got another job then. I kept doing that all the time. I was the first boiler attendant to fire that new boiler in the hospital. The engineers that put in operations during the day, and I was the first, I come on that evening, so I could say I'm the first boiler attendant, that is, to fire that boiler in there, the new boiler at the hospital.
When was that?
1953.
And how long did you stay there for?
Oh, about 2 years. I was sick of the shifts there too. And where'd I go again? It's sort of history repeating itself for different jobs.
Yeah. So how many times did you do that?
Oh, I suppose I stopped at Canberra about 6.
Yeah.
I was I left Feelings there too. I was on Feelings on the kiln drying plant, operated boilers there. And you come good again, so I went back there again. And after a while, Feelings asked where to come back, so I went back because Yuki wasn't looking too good. And I left there.
What causes all those changes in prices? Is it just the overseas price, or?
Oh, I suppose a lot of invitation stuff too, brought in from overseas. A lot of the trouble too, I think, was they imported us, other countries, or we exported, they imported to their country seeds and seedlings, and they produced at such a scale over there, they sent the Yuki back here to us, competing with us.
Spain or somewhere like that?
Spain, yeah, and different places like that.
Yeah, produced a heck of a lot.
That's the regular same too. There's the merino rams, same thing that happened, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So it'd be foolish really to let them too many rams over there.
Yeah, same thing again.
It would, yeah.
And what about your last burst on the Yuki? When was that? When did you start again?
Well, Freons, as I say, I went back there and they got burnt out. I was down Bowen holidays at the time. They got burnt out in 1973. So I didn't have a job to go back there. So they sent me up to P&N factory, a small tool factory in St Maryborough. I was there for 6 weeks. I didn't like there, so I stopped in the Yuki till I retired.
How many years was that?
For 73 till, well, 10 or 11 years, I suppose. Yeah, it would be about 10 years anyway.
Yeah. And with your work there, with your last lot, is that when you had the portable plant, or?
No, I was using this plant here.
Right. When did you have the portable plant?
Up Ballaba.
That's when you were up
At Ballaba, only up there, yes.
Right. So here, how far away do you come?
Oh, we started used to cart leaves down from Ballaba. They got a bit too far, so we used to get leaves locally. Used to get a lot around the airfield too.
Oh yeah.
It's paid royalty to the Forest Commission there for that. But around any post cutter or sleeper cutter cutting the forest, I used to get tops, the tree tops.
Oh right.
See, they're all right. The gumman's all right.
Yeah.
But mainly are suckers from paddocks. You cut down the saplings in 2 years' time without the coppers.
Yeah.
You'd get that and.
So how would you cut them down? What would you use?
Chainsaw to finish.
Right.
Yeah. The way back was axes and that sort of thing, but as the years went on, well, get more modernised.
Yeah, after you cut it with a chainsaw, you still have to get the leaves off with a hook, or?
Well, you could, yes. You cut the branches off with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like this, just the lengths you could handle, and you'd strip them off with a sickle.
Yeah.
And you fork them on the truck with a pitchfork. All that sort of thing.
Wow.
It's all hard jacker.
Yeah. And what about just time more generally? Any other changes that you can recall in the place?
Not a great lot. It's just as
What was it like when you were younger? Say would be around the time you left school. Could you describe what the place was like then? Very different.
well, there were more houses there then.
Yeah.
There's 2 hotels. There's 2 grocery shops and the post office. That big white tree down there in the main street. The post office was there. You never noticed that, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the post office was there, run by Mabel Powell. There's a grocery shop next door to that. Then there's a bakery, Nicholas's Bakery. Wow. And a Near's Butcher shop. And then there's the shop that's there where Peter Lowe, I say, was in it.
Yeah.
And where the Catholic Church is now, that was a pub there.
Sure.
And the school, I say, that's only half the size of what it is. And there's quite a few houses, as I say, shipped to Melbourne and pulled down and burnt and one thing and another. Used to have a big bell at the fire station. It was a beautiful bell it was. It sounded real good, real good tone.
Used to hear it a few times by the sound of it.
But you understand how houses caught in fire those days, at paper lines, you know.
Yeah.
And we only had candles and kerosene lights to
Yeah.
for illumination, for lights
That's
and
a
that.
bad combination.
The risk was there, and kids and one thing and another.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's the is that a gravel crushing plant?
Yes, Leeds, yes. But I believe they're washing dirt there for gold now for these one of these mining companies.
Oh,
They're
right.
carting dirt in, or material in and washing it.
What was it? It was a gravel.
They used to crush it for gravel and for the roads, for metal for the roads.
No. Who owns that?
Leach's, A.G. Leach.
Oh, Leach's in town.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He's in my brother-in-law, he married my sister.
Well, can't get away from King.
No, small world, as I say.
Yeah, oh, that probably gives me most of the story about it. That's good. Well, I'll process those photographs and drop you one in
Mm.
and see how they work out. Yeah. Yeah, if you could tell me something about the early days of your involvement, what was your first contact with the brass band, Jeff?
Well, I originally was a bugle player at Carisbrook. I learnt the bugle. I was learning the piano and the violin at the same time. And we were out on a farm down on Deep Creek. And when we sold the farm, we came into Maryborough. And of course, Uncle Paddy, he was Arthur John Harris, the same name as myself, and he was my uncle, and he was the bandmaster here. He took the Maryborough band after the First World War, and I took them after the Second. And two Arthur John Harrises have had them since 1918. And of course then he said, oh well, I'll give you a cornet to play. So then I started on a cornet. And from then I gradually kicked on, and I used to practice 6 and 7 hours a day, you know. I used to
How old were you then?
Oh, I was only about 14, I suppose, 13 or 14. I was going to high school, and then Saturday morning, Mum used to, we lived down in the Pier Street, Mum used to pack me lunch, and I'd take the Shanghai and my music stand and a bit of music and the cornet, and off I'd go out to our weird abattoirs out in the road out here, we were butchers, and I used to practice all day long and come home, and I never saw a football, never saw a football match, never saw anything, you know. It was just, all I knew was to practice. And then I used to come up here and sit in this room with Uncle Paddy, he lived here, and I used to get cornet lessons off him, you know, but I used to practice hours a day, you know. And then finished up, I went to P&N, Patience and Nicholson first. That was the first job I had. And when they first opened in 1924, and then there was the 3 Taylor girls from Dunolly. They were Devonports, the family were, and they formed an orchestra, and there was another fella on the trombone, Tom Hart, and there was a Wally Romano on the clarinet and flute, and Les Way on the drums, and we used to play the opening of the Paramount Theatre. That was in the silent days, you know. We used to 6 days, 6 nights a week. And
So what would you do then? You'd be playing before the film started?
yeah, and I'd play incidental music while it was going on.
Or did you have a score to read as the thing?
Oh,
Or
we
you just
played-
made it up?
No, we played all music, but we didn't play, wasn't synchronised with the pictures like
Right.
I did in later
So did
stages.
the music actually come with the pictures?
No. We used to play a waltz. People were dancing, we'd play a waltz, and you know, that sort of thing. It was just a little bit of incidental stuff. It was all, you always played an overture at the start, Poet and the Peasant or something like that, at the start of the show, and then we'd play in the interval while the people were wandering around. But, and then Uncle Paddy was a great player with Collingwood Citizens Band, and his great mentor and mate was Massey Johnson, one of Australia's best conductors in those days, and he always had the champion bands. And he used to come up and coach Maryborough Band when Uncle Paddy took them, you know, take them contesting. He won about 10 contests on end. They were a very good band. And anyway, Massa got hold of me, and he took me to Melbourne, took me on a trip to Tasmania with Collingwood Band, and he got me to go down several times when they had this contest on. I played with it for him. And anyway, there was a chap in the band named A.D. Franks, very good cornet player, and General Motors formed an exhibition of cars, some 50 or 60 cars, and they came to Maryborough here, and they went to the shop and they said, we'd like Jack to join the band. And he said, he's too young, he's not going away yet. Anyway, I
Which band was this? This was
This is the General Motors Exhibition Band.
Right.
And then I finished up, I persuaded Dad to let me go, so I picked the band up down at Colac. And I stayed with them, and it came the Christmas time and they broke up, and I went back down there again, and they said, there's no band now, we're finished. That's all right. So I was walking up the street and I met a fellow named Jack Bramwell. And he played in the Collingwood band, and he was after chief in the fire brigade. And he said to me, hey Jack, he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going back home. There's nothing for me down here. And he said, oh look, he said, there's Commonwealth bands arriving in town and they're after cornet players. A couple of cornet players, or one. And he said, they're having an audition in the Capitol Theatre. He said, why don't you go round?
Whereabouts was this? This was in
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
So I said, right, I'll go round. So I went round and we got introduced to Bale, the conductor bloke, and Smith, the fellow that ran that reunion. So there was about 10 of us, I think, and I forget the name of the adjudicator. It was the organist at the Capitol Theatre. Anyhow, we all had to go out and play solo. And all the big heads of the band, the sergeants and everything were sitting in the front, and anyway, I got the decision. So they fitted me out in a uniform. In those days they wore a cavalry sort of, Australian hat with a feather in it, leggings and all that sort of thing, so I didn't fit out with that. And away we went then. And we played at the Capitol Theatre for them, and the picture I never always remember, My Blue Heaven was on. And we done one half the programme and the picture was the second half. Well, then we done a few theatres in Melbourne, and then we off to New Zealand. Well, the blue and old steamers, Oh, and bug-ridden beds, places we used to stop in, Oh, I was dying to get home. From there we went over to Canada, over to the Calgary Stampede and played there. Then we came down into, that was fine, I liked that. And then we came down into America, and we went to, played New York, a couple of theatres there. We did a session at one big theatre, I forget the name of it now, but somewhere in the diary. And from there we went over to South Africa and then to England and then across to France and then back home again. And then when we got back here, we started to do half pictures and half theatres, half band, around all the suburbs. We do 2 a night. Mm. And then the talkies came in. And anyway, I was just about sick of it. I'd had 3 years, but I hadn't been home. And I was getting fed up with it. No aeroplanes in those days, Anyway, the band broke up. The boss said, I can't carry on, I'm not making enough money. I said, all right. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going back to the bush, back home. Oh gosh, he said, I can get you a job here in the theatre, anywhere. He said, you're good enough for any of these, beat any of these fellas. And I said, no. Then a fella come up to me and he said, listen Jack, go round to the Tivoli, they're auditioning for they used to send bands, jazz bands around the country, around everywhere, and I wouldn't go. And I sent another fellow named Maybury. I sent him there. I said, now go on, he was only second corner player. I said, go around, you'll get on all right in this. And so we went round, he went to New Zealand, and then the last I heard him, he was playing with Jack Hilton's band in London. But, well, then I got homesick. I came back to Maryborough, and I went up to P&N for a while, and then I went back to the butcher shop. Then P&N got me to go back again.
What were you doing there at P&N?
Oh, I was just a machinist, and I was deputy in charge of one of the grinding rooms in the finish. Then I had a bust up with them about something, or about unionism or something, and anyhow I got a ring from a chap at Preston, wanted me to take the Preston band. And my wife was alive then, she didn't want to go to Melbourne, so I went down and Bill Phelan took me down. The big place that Bill Phelan had. And he heard about it and he took me down. He said, what are you going down here for? I told him, going down to interview with the Preston band. He said, you're not going to leave the town, you come and see me. If you don't do any good, it's a job. So I went down and I got the job. I was going to work on the Preston Council, I had a job there, and bandmaster. It was all going to sound all right to me. Anyway, when I got home, the wife said, well, you're going on your own. I'm not going to go. So they finished that. So Bill Phelan rang me up and I said, no, it's no good, the wife won't go. He should come over and see me. So I went over and I went down and worked with him, transport superintendent. And I was there about 15 or 16 years. And then the VBL all had wanted me to teach band instruments in the schools around this area. And I wouldn't take it on, I would stay where I was. So anyway, I had a row with them down there about something. I reckon I was protecting the drivers and such and such, and they said we might replace you. I said, you won't get the chance, I'm off. So I went down and got the man in charge of the band section of the Cronin, his name was. Went down to Preston School. He said, God last we got you. So then I came back, I went down for a course just to see what they did. And I had Ballarat, Castlemaine, High School, Tech School, Kangaroo Flat, White Hills, I said Castlemaine, and Golden Square.
When was that?
This was, that'd be, I had to retire when I was 70. Well, I'm nearly 80 now, that'd be at least 20 years ago.
Mm.
And, of course, then I built up a good school band here. Then I told them my little band played in every school in 6 months. They all played the speech night, just half a dozen or more. And anyway, I rang this bloke up. I told him, I said, listen, I got 145 kids in Maryborough. He said, that's too many for anyone. I said, I'd like to stop here full time. So I was living here and the school was just over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, all right, we'll replace you, but they didn't. And all these other kids fell away, you know, they had no one to take them over. And it was a shame. But then I worked here and I built a top band here. They won championships everywhere. Even won the Australian championships over in Burnie in Tasmania. We went over there and competed. They finished up a tremendous good band, but the only killing part of it that annoys me a bit, there's about 6 of them walking around the town here now and don't blow a note.
Mm.
No, it's a shame. Some of them went into the army, some went into the navy, some are still playing, often come back.
There must have been people interested in music in your family.
Oh yes, Auntie May was a very good singer. She lived to 90, and I used to come up here into this room and get piano lessons off Auntie Ede, and then I learnt the violin of Miss Wadsworth down there. They were where Patterson's are now, the big furniture place. I used to come in on a pony from out on the farm, the violin strapped on my back, and get lessons on a Saturday morning, and come here, and all the nights were very religious, you know. They dragged me off to church on Sunday morning, Sunday school Sunday afternoon, church in the night, and I used to, the Harrises had big butchers, 2 butcher shops. Dad used to manage one, and I used to leave me pony there, and I'd go down and get them Monday morning right out to school at Carisbrook. And
How old had you been then?
I was only about 8, somewhere about that.
How did you feel about learning the violin?
Eh?
How did you feel about playing the violin?
Oh, it was all right till somebody bloody stuck a corn at my hand and the whole lot went, piano and all, you know.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I was learning the piano off Miss Nicholson, and we had a tremendous mouse plague about 1914, 15. And they ate everything, even if the guts out of the piano, you know, and I couldn't practice. So the teacher said to me, the music teacher says, you better come across to my house and do your practice at lunchtime, Johnny. All right, I'll do that. But Dad and John Williamson, they used to exhibit shorthorn cattle, and he knew I was mad on bands. And so when he was coming home, he bought me a bugle in Sydney. Bought that home. Well, I cried, I couldn't get over it. So anyway, I took it to school. Seeing I was supposed to be going to her place, and I was blowing the bugle in the schoolyard. So finally I decided to front over there. She told Dad I wasn't going, so he blew me up. So I went over. She said, my word, Jackie, where have you been? You haven't been coming over, Johnny? And I said, no, please, miss, I haven't been too good. You mightn't be too well, but she said, my word, your bugle playing's improving. She could hear it from where she was, you know. So that was the start of the bugle business, and then I finished up in the band here. Well, then...
So when did you get your cornet? When did you go over? You got the interest in the bugle?
Yeah, well then when we came to live in Maryborough, Uncle Paddy was bandmaster up in the old band hall, and they were going to start a junior band, and of course he told me to come along. First thing I grabbed was a Tom Brown, and the end flew off. It knocked. Oh, he said, get out of here. So he finished up giving me a cornet. Well, then I went mad on it, and I used to practice, and every other bit of music, singing, that all went to pot. I never played the piano, and we had a piano, and the violin, I don't know. Oh, I had that for years after that, but I don't know what happened to it.
Was there more music played around the place then?
Oh, yes,
more music being played?
Oh, well, you see, they used to have wonderful competitions here, and you know, they'd have violin solos and brass solos and choirs and one-act plays and all that. They used to call it Musical Dramatic Society, and they used to run for a fortnight in the town hall. Bonnie Craven and Beryl Code and all those great singers, they all used to come here.
Was there more appreciation of the music then, do you reckon?
Oh, they packed houses every night, you know.
Mm.
But then there was no such thing as television and that sort of thing, made a big difference.
Mm.
Well, then after I kept on stuck with the band and then I told you we got into the orchestra and then I branched out to going away to play the General Motors exhibition and then into the Commonwealth. Well, then after that I came back here and then somebody told me there's a job in the ABC for me playing with Percy Code in his little orchestra. So he knew me pretty well because I've been down and played with his Paran band, and he said they got in touch with me and through Paddy and told me to come down. So I went down. I stayed in the ABC about 2 months, and then I went across and played in the Hoyt circuit for a while with a few fellas that I knew. You know, used to fill in orchestras, but those fellas never drink or smoke or anything, you know, and they were all boozers, and you know, by the time you did the matinee and in the afternoon, and then by the time they come to the night, they'd be over the musicians' club and all come back shittle. So I didn't like that much. I said I'll go back to the bush, so I came home again.
Yeah, that was following on your overseas time pretty closely. That was following on your overseas time pretty closely. How did you feel how old were you when you went to New Zealand first? About 17, 18?
Yeah.
What was it like for you going from Maryborough?
Oh, I was amazed for the first week. You know, but then when I got in this rotten old steamer and the crook bunks, and then when we weren't a very wealthy band. We used to get £4.10 a week in our keep. And the band used to pay our board and we got £4.10. Well, that was a lot of money in those days. Yeah.
What date would that have been that you went overseas? Is that on that?
I can't think.
Let's say with the picture, is it 1920 or something?
1925, we were in America.
Right. What was it like being in New York?
Oh, all right. Oh, I didn't mind that at all. So much to see, so much to do. That's a
bit of a change from Maryborough, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's the school band.
Ah.
And I enlisted. I got away. I had two brothers. I had one that died. Both died recently. One was at the Brook Rat, and the other was a prisoner of war. He was one of the found on the Damon Islands. You know, and only about 50 got back. All the rest died and ill-treated, one thing and another. And then I said I was in essential service at Patience and Nicholas, and I said, well, I'm getting out of here, and I went and I nicked off and joined the Air Force. And then, of course, by my first posting, I went down to Rookies at Rocklands Dam, and the next posting was to Bairnsdale. And of course, a Maryborough fellow was down there, and he went to Point Cook, and he told the bandmaster, Squadron Leader Niven, that I was in the Air Force. Next day, I'm posted up to Point Cook to the Air Force, and we had a fellow, Wing Commander Lucas, was in charge of the bands, and he wouldn't let anyone get posted from the bands. I got a posting to Canada, and they scrubbed it. I got a posting to England, they scrubbed that. Got another posting to Canada, and they scrubbed that again. And blimey, tell you, when they cut out, I got stuck in a mobile works unit and finished up in the Gulf of Carpentaria. I got meningitis up there and nearly died.
Wow.
And then...
how did you feel about that, not being able to go any those places?
Oh, I got that annoyed because I had two brothers in, you know.
Yeah.
And I kicked up hell, but it didn't make any difference. I had to go.
What were they using you for, mainly recruiting?
No, I was just an ordinary transport bloke as a finish. I didn't...
So why wouldn't they let you go? Why wouldn't they let you go?
Too essential to play with the band. He was mad on this rest band. There's the cornet section they had. That was taken up in Mildura.
What was the band doing though? Were they playing for recruiting drives and things?
Oh yeah, street music, all those,
that sort of stuff.
what do you call those, processions in the streets in Melbourne and all those.
Yeah.
But there were tremendous players in that. Yeah. I was playing soprano then, I think, on the end there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some great players in that lot.
So how many bands do you reckon you played with?
Oh, countless. I've been out, I played with Ballarat Soldiers in contests, and then I played with Ballarat City in 2 contests. I played in the contest that they won every event when Harry Mortar came from England, and they won every event at South Street, and they won everything. And then after that, they lost their bandmaster, so I went down and conducted them and won with them down there. They conducted, that was in the B grade, yes, they won that. And then they said, oh, right, we got set for a bandmaster. I used to lived in High Street, used to leave the television and lovely fire and everything, go down there and 5, 6 or 7 players. So I said, I'm not going back anymore, so I never went back there again.
Yeah.
But I've helped other bands out. I've been to Melbourne and helped bands, and I took Golden Square up to Wagga Australian Championships and won with them up there. Their bandmaster walked out about 6 weeks to go. And 2 of them came over here one day and I was out the front, and they said, our bandmaster's walked out and the poor people have saved up $5,000 to go and got no bandmaster, would you help me? Help us. So I went over and they were very good too, they won. Then they got me to go back there and bandmaster. I went over there for about 2 years, but the night travelling, coming home, the night, and the old reflexes weren't good enough, and those cattle barges used to come over the hill like a Boeing 707, and Anne said to me, you silly old fool, why don't you give it away? So then I decided to give it all away, and then I had a big retirement dinner.
When was that? That was a couple of years ago?
Oh, no. That's to see all the bands would come from all over the place.
There's your card there by the look of it.
Eh?
That's your card there, I take it.
Where?
The card here, the big one.
Oh, that's all the autographs of all the players, all the people that turned up at the dinner.
Wow, 82. 82.
82, isn't it?
Yeah. Must have been quite an event.
Yeah, it was. To meet all the old faces, so all the old players come back, and fellas that were here, Fellas that I taught, was a tremendous night. I admit I cried like a sook. Couldn't help it. All the police were there, all the government officials and the mayor and Victorian Band League fellas.
Wow. So how long did you give it away for?
Well, I gave it away for 2 years, and we had a fellow named Trays here, and he didn't get on with the players, and then he wrote a nasty letter, said he was giving it up. So they said, what are we going to do? So they asked me, would I go back? So I went back, and they've been advertising, and they can't get anybody else. And so they had a meeting at the start of the year, and I went to the meeting, and they said, what are we going to do? And then the president said, well, will you take it on again, Jack, till we find somebody? I said, yeah, not for too long. Well, I'm stuck in there again then.
How many other bands are you associated with now? Just Dunolly and Maryborough?
Yeah, I don't want to bet you on.
Yeah.
So I could. I've been Bendigo City's been after me for a good while, but we come back to the same old thing.
Too far.
Yeah, but Golden Square, I went and they rung up and asked me for some music. I supply nearly everybody with music, but one of the best libraries in Australia. And they said, we're going to have a discussion about you, see if you'll come back. Very much doubt it.
Yeah.
That's a great fellow of mine, Eric Butler. He's the secretary of the Beecroft crowd.
Wow. With all the performances you must have been at, there must have been some funny things that had happened at...
Oh gosh, I could write a book on the things that have happened,
Tell me a couple.
That's when I first started.
Ah, gee. Goes back a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whereabouts is that, Carrisbrook?
No, that's out in Princess Park, I think.
Yeah, what sort of things have happened to you when you've been conducting? Or when you've been in bands?
Oh, there's a lot of amusing things I could tell you, that they, things that have happened and things that have been said and things that have gone on and some of the trips away and the things that happened in the, trips away and that.
Yeah.
There's 2 medals on that. One's a life member of the Maryborough Band and the other's a life member of the Victorian Band League.
Ah.
I'm also an honorary member of the Australian Band Council too, but
Gee.
I don't... They told me that, but I never went to see them or anything.
Yeah. And what about what's the history of bands in Australia been? It's been...
Well, they date back further than I can remember. There's when you hear the old chaps talking, it's. I remember I used to go to South Street as a little kid, And of course I was band mad, and I used to stay with my grandmother. And anyway, I remember Alf Rowell had the Ballarat Soldiers Band just after the war. He was a bandmaster of Uncle Paddy when they were overseas, in the First World War. And anyway, I couldn't get over these bands, and I went to the City Oval, a big contest. They had fireworks and band, and then it started to rain. Ballarat Soldiers won it, and they marched all the way from the City Oval down to their band room, which was down behind Bridge Street. And I'll never forget it, they played a march called the Cossack, and I was in little shaven short pants, and so I got in the ranks and kept walking down with them. Grandma and Grandpa started to panic, and they had the police looking all over the place where I got to.
You're marching up with the band.
Marching in the middle of this band going down the street. I couldn't get out of it.
How old do you reckon you were then?
Oh, I'd be struggling to make 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were obviously pretty keen from that age.
Did I cop out? Yeah. Grandpa was going to put me on the train back. I'm not going to worry about you, he says. Put me on the train to go back to Maryborough.
It's interesting you had that attraction from that young age.
Yes. Oh, I just liked it. You know, that when the band used to play, when I first played with them, I was too small to march. And they used to give a concert in the park every Sunday afternoon. I'd be stirring hell out of Mum to get me lunch ready on the Sunday, and I'd have my uniform on. We had a different uniform to what we have now. We had a strap with a bag on it, used to put your pegs in, you know. And I'd have me cornered outside the front gate waiting for Mum to get me dinner, and then I'd off down the park, and I'd sit down there half an hour, 3/4 of an hour before they'd arrive. See, they used to march down. I'd be sitting in the seat. I was too small to march. But the first big public performance I had with the band was in 1922. The band used to play in the, New Year's Day sports. The band used to play. And the thing then was to march round the oval, see? Yeah. It used to be a picket fence then with a bike track, asphalt bike track up there. And Paddy never had a part for me, so he gave me a second baritone part and put me in the middle of the band. I thought I was a king, marching down the band, a bloke singing out, "Get in step, young'un, get in step." Oh, crikey, I reckon it was great.
Wow. How did it feel performing in places like New York? And there must have been quite some
audiences. Oh, great, Phil. And it's a funny thing, that nerves never seem to worry me, but I think my first performance with the Commonwealth in the Capitol Theatre in Melbourne, I was shaking like a leaf.
Yeah.
And the old bloke I showed you, old Joe Clay, he was bandmaster in Dunolly, he was an old campaigner, and he used to play a flugel. He said, don't worry, Jack, just it'll be all right, just keep playing. What you can't play, I'll put in for you, Soon got... but there was a brilliant player in that band, a fellow named Arthur Stender. They used to call him the Determined Hun. Collingwood Band visited here one day, and Paddy said, come down to the reserve and listen to this. They were practicing the reserve over here. Yeah. He said, come down and listen to this cornet player. Oh, he's a brilliant cornet player. Well, he was in the Commonwealth Band when I got there, and he'd take me under his wing, because I was a young'un. Yeah. But he had a great habit of calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock to go down to the local park and practice. So I soon took a wake up to that. That was no good. Soon got out of that habit. But he was a great player. But he finished up at the university in Sydney, but he got tangled up with some dairy farmer's daughter or something, and I don't know what happened to him. I know he died, but I don't know what became of him after he left the university, or whether he went on to farm. But his memories started to go. We'd be playing a triple tonguey polka. He was a great soloist, and the boss used to bail, used to say, now watch, his memory's gone, he'll play three verses instead of 2, and we'd have to watch all the time. The boss say, again. Yeah, gosh.
What about on the ship? What was that life like?
Oh, terrible.
Yeah?
Stink. No, I didn't enjoy that at all.
You were on the water for a while.
Yeah, I think it was a fortnight to get to New Zealand.
Yeah.
But I've been over there, I go over every May, not going this year because I haven't been so well, but I go over there, the greatest contest I've ever heard over in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And tremendous playing, and I went over and leave here at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm over at Christchurch midday,
Yeah. What about when you're on the boat on that trip? Were you actually playing on the boat as well?
Oh, we went boat to practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd have us out to practice all the time, and like he'd say to Arthur Stender, well, get all the cornets. We'd be having breakfast down this Dunolly, get all the cornets and get them upstairs, and he'd be in charge of cornets, and they'd do it. And the next morning he'd get the tenorons and send them up there. And this is our opening programme. This is what we'll be playing. Now go and do that. Oh, he's an old scoundrel, old Bale. God.
So where did you land first after New Zealand? Canada? Was next, was it?
Oh, that wasn't Ontario, no. Vancouver.
Right.
Yeah. But, that was very enjoyable because they had a big contract to play at the Stampede, and well then they looked after us marvellously. You know, we had decent hotels to stay in, you know, real good, and had a bus of our own. You know, they transported us everywhere and sightseeing, and it was really good. We only had to play. We used to play of an afternoon, then we had a march, and the old boss used to be. They called it the Australian Military Commonwealth Band. The old boss had 10 to 2. You know, he waddled along the back with his toes pointing out. We used to sling off at him. 10 to 2, I used to call him. His feet were 10 to 2.
Yeah. What was the Stampede like?
Oh, very good. Of course, I don't know how those blokes and those horses and the Broncos. I hung over the fence there and I was watching them, and all the blokes would be round looking for beer or something. Or whiskey they used to drink over there. And I'd be hanging on the fence watching them all get bucked off and plonk and horse kicking, just missing their heads. But they were good. I've seen some of them, they'd go round the ring 3 times and never get bucked off, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it when they brought the cattle in, when they started bringing the steers in, you know. I didn't like that part of it. That didn't please me.
You would have been one out of it, being so young.
Yes. Because I couldn't mix with them because I didn't go, and there was no one my age in it, you know. They'd already been to England before that, you know. They were originally the Newcastle Steelworks. And they were all hardened campaigners, you know. They'd play cards all the time, and they weren't my cup of tea, you know. I was sort of a loner in there. Victor Bale, the boss's son, I was going over to see him. I was up with the Maryborough Band at Mount Gambier, and I was going to go down and see him because I knew he'd been pretty crook. So I rang up a mate of mine there, and he said, no good coming to see him. He said he's too low, he's in hospital. So I didn't go down, I came home. But he was a very nice fellow, Victor. You know, he looked after me pretty well. He took me in hand, and if the others would clear out, he'd always stay behind with me, you know, to keep me company.
How'd your parents feel about it?
Oh, they were worried about me, you know, because I was being a young scoundrel who wouldn't write much. You know, they didn't know where I was. They didn't know where I was, Oodnadatta or anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there's probably a stack of material in there that I could use, I'm sure. What I'll do is I'll write it out and then let you have a look at it before.
Yeah, all right.
What I'd like to do is take a picture of you, maybe with an instrument. Got me around?
Yeah, I've got a cornet out there.
Sounds like the appropriate one, doesn't it? How many cornets have you been through?
Oh, I've the first one I got was they gave me the band. It was an old boozy, and then when I got in the Commonwealth Band, they gave me another one. And when we got to England, I bought one for £12.
Yeah.
And I had that right back here. And then old Massa was coaching the band, and he said, "You've got to get a soprano playing." Paddy said, "How would Jack go?" He said, "He'll be all right." So they gave me a soprano cornet. They bought me a new one, and I loved that. I had to sit and play for hours on that. I won 2 or 3 championships for playing a soprano, and that's put me in so much demand, you know. Soprano players weren't about in those days. But I loved the soprano.
How much do you play now?
How
much do you play?
Very little.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll go and get that cornet out and have a blow, you know, play a couple of solos or something like that when I'm in the mood. But I don't play in the band at all, and I don't play at Dunolly. I did for a while, but then they'd sit back and bludge on you, so they thought to make it do the work themselves.
I'll go and grab the camera.
I came back from the war until 1982.
What was your first band you actually took over, like as a bandmaster? When was the first time you were a bandmaster?
Yes.
With the Maryborough Band?
Yeah, but when I came out, I didn't believe it out of the Air Force. Of course, they grabbed me and sent me to the RAF headquarters band. It was then at Ascot Vale.
Yeah.
Well, we had a bandmaster named Crotty. I saw him in Sydney last time I was there. Very fine trumpet player. He had a big dance band in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And he used to get me to stand in for him, so I got a bit of conducting experience with that band. And then when I come here, the job wasn't so difficult.
Yeah. How did you feel conducting the first time? As opposed to playing?
Eh?
As opposed to playing, what was the...
Pretty difficult you know, to coordinate being a cornet player. And you know, I was always a poor reader.
Yeah?
And always a poor reader, yeah. That's one of the things I couldn't. I was talking to Percy Cade, one of Australia's great cornet players, and I was out, he saw me in the street in Melbourne, he asked me to go out and play with the Brass Band then. I went out and played with him, and I told him, I said, I'm not a very good reader. He said, if you haven't got it, you never will. Well, you know that since I've been conducting the band and reading scores,
Yeah.
I've improved out of sight, you know, nothing frightens me now. They can put anything in front of me. But as I, in my first play, I used to memorise. I never ever played with the Raffet Quarters band. I'd march and play, they'd play say 10 or 12 marches, I played the whole from memory. I knew everything from memory. I could memorise anything.
Interesting.
There's a, see that? That's my little treasure, that's the mouthpiece I had for the soprano. Look at the size of it.
Small.
Blood found in a rubbish tip.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good grief.
I don't know whether it's old blood or what's the blood.
Which one was that? When did you get that one?
Hey?
When did you get that one?
Oh, the Legato gave me this one as a present when the band bought their last new set of instruments. They had a big turnout in Town Hall here, and I was just showing them something. What's my case? I was showing him something around the band room. They were talking about buying a new Geek trombone for one bloke.
Yeah.
That corner there, I think, was $800 new. But, look at them now. Corner Slooker Besson. That's the same as that. 1387, but if you bought it through the council, which we do, it's that. Now we're after this trombone. Where is it? Trombones. Here you are. We're going to buy one of these, look.
3,000.
Yeah. Now look. Look at the double bass.
6,000.
6,100.
Good grief. So a band full of instruments is worth a lot of money. So to set up a new band.
The last lot we paid 25,000 for the last lot, and I told them the other day, Sunday morning after practice, a few of us sitting around having a drink, and I said, well now, it'll cost you over 100,000 to re-equip the band.
Good grief. What was their response to that? Shocking surprise. Just if you're just standing over there and just hold your corner.
Anyway.
Just over about here, I think. The music behind you there as well. Let's see how I've got.